tired of you playing the game. Now, I want the rest of my money.
But I don't have any money. I gave you $50, didn't I?
Baby, you sure you ain't get 50 more?
How much do you think is going to be?
You sure you ain't got 50 more? You calling my friend a liar?
Yeah, don't hit me now! I don't have to give you money!
Fucking my money!
The film opens in the gritty, crime-ridden streets of 1980s New York City. We meet Thana, a timid and completely mute young woman who works as a seamstress in the city's chaotic garment district. Keeping to herself and keeping her head down, she finishes her shift and begins her usual walk home through the crowded, aggressive city streets. As she takes a shortcut on her way home, a masked attacker corners her in a dark, isolated alleyway. Brandishing a gun, the predator brutally assaults her. Left traumatized and in complete shock, Thana gathers herself and desperately runs the rest of the way back to her apartment building, thinking she is finally safe. But the nightmare isn't over. The moment Thana unlocks her apartment door and steps inside, she surprises a burglar who is in the middle of ransacking her home. Instead of fleeing, the violent intruder corners her and attacks her a second time. Pushed to her absolute limit, Thana's survival instincts take over. During the struggle, she manages to grab a heavy glass apple from a nearby table, smashing it into the burglar's face. As he stumbles, she seizes a heavy clothes iron and repeatedly bludgeons him to death on her floor. Staring at the lifeless body, the silence in the room is deafening as her mind completely fractures. Knowing she cannot go to the police, she drags the corpse into her bathroom. Back at work, she feels puzzled about her next move but suddenly gets an idea upon seeing the janitor change the trash plastic bag. Upon returning home, she uses a large kitchen knife to carefully dismember the body, packing the parts into heavy-duty trash bags. She puts the different plastic bags into the refrigerator and cleans the sink, possibly removing any trace of the murder. Thana disguises one of the bags by wrapping it in gift paper. Suddenly, Mrs. Nasson's dog, Phil, begins barking and scratching frantically outside her apartment door, nearly exposing her. Over the next couple of days, Thana goes about her normal routine, carrying pieces of the body out of her apartment in her purse and shopping bags, casually disposing of them in trash cans and alleys across Manhattan. The horrific task begins to harden her, replacing her timid fear with a cold, detached numbness. Back at the fashion factory, her boss Albert notices a profound change in her. No longer the passive, invisible seamstress, Thana dresses in more striking, bolder outfits, her silent presence carrying a new, intense aura that leaves her coworkers unsettled. One afternoon, Thana gets put of a car carrying one of the wrapped bags, unaware that a stranger has spotted her and is following close behind. Rounding a quiet corner, she quickly drops the parcel into a pile of trash to get rid of it. The man hurries over, picks up the gift-wrapped bag, and runs after her, entirely convinced she simply dropped it by mistake. Terrified, Thana bolts down the street, and the stranger immediately chases after her to return the bag. Trapped in a dead-end alley, the traumatized woman believes she is about to be attacked again. With nowhere left to run, her survival instincts snap. She pulls out the pistol from her purse and coldly shoots the man dead on the spot, realizing only afterward that he was just trying to return her gruesome package. Thana bursts back into her apartment in a full panic and violently vomits in the bathroom. The loud, retching noises echo through the thin walls, instantly catching the attention of her nosy landlady, Mrs. Nasson, outside in the hallway. Mrs. Nasson steps inside to check on Thana, and Phil darts straight to the kitchen. The dog begins sniffing frantically around the refrigerator, seconds away from exposing the hidden remains. Before Phil can uncover the truth, the landlady yanks him away and exits, completely unaware of the corpse inside. Noticing her declining performance at work, Albert calls Thana into his office to demand answers. As he pressures her to improve, he crosses the line and begins touching her inappropriately. The unwanted contact deeply traumatizes Thana. Reeling from the sudden violation, she panics and pulls away from him, rushing out of the office to escape. Later that day, Thana joins her workmates Lori and Carol at a local cafe for a treat. While the others talk, Thana's eyes lock onto a nearby couple kissing shamelessly in public. The sight deeply triggers her fractured mind, reminding her of the city's unchecked, aggressive desires.
Hey lady, we're trying to eat over here. This is a restaurant, it's not Plato's Retreat. What is this, a zoo? They look like a couple of monkeys going at it.
Shortly after, the man from the couple walks over and begins aggressively flirting with the group of girls. Disgusted by his behavior, Lori steps in and ruthlessly chases him away, shutting down his advances on the spot.
Hey ladies, may I join you in an after-dinner drink? Sweet ladies. I'm buying.
Fuck off. You heard me, get fucked. Get bent. Fucking wimp, get the hell out of here.
Right.
Beat it, scram, get bent.
Take it easy.
Take it easy, my ass. Bleed the nerve of this guy. Here you go.
Lori and Carol leave the cafe immediately, leaving Thana behind to pay the check. Seeing her completely alone, the man spots another opportunity and begins to pursue her as she steps out onto the street. The man corners Thana on the sidewalk, trying to convince her to come to his photo studio. He flatters her, insisting she is far more beautiful than any professional model and belongs in front of a camera. Thana quietly agrees to follow him. But the moment they step into the secluded studio, she pulls her pistol and brutally shoots him dead, leaving his body among the camera gear. The thrill of these kills awakens something deep inside Thana. She begins experimenting with bold makeup, bright red lipstick, and provocative clothing, transforming herself into the ultimate bait for the city's worst elements. While leaving that evening, she informs Mrs. Nasson that she would be sleeping over at a friend's place. That night, Thana spots a black couple walking down the dark street, locked in a heated, screaming argument over money. The tension explodes when the man suddenly turns violent, physically assaulting the woman right on the sidewalk. Stepping out of the shadows, Thana approaches them on foot. She raises her pistol and coldly executes the man right there on the pavement, leaving the woman in shock. Walking through a dimly lit Central Park, she is quickly surrounded by a gang of aggressive punks looking for trouble. As they close in, Thana smoothly pulls the gun from her purse and opens fire without blinking, taking down the thugs before they even realize she is armed. On a rainy street, a luxury sedan pulls up to assault Thana. An Arab sheik in the backseat directs his chauffeur to pick her up. Thana gets inside. As they drive through the downpour, the sheik misinterprets her silence and begins making unwanted advances. Thana pulls out her pistol, swiftly shooting the driver through the seat before turning the weapon to execute the sheik. Her campaign of vengeance quickly intensifies. Thana stalks the New York streets like a ghost, luring pimps, rapists, and catcallers into dark corners, only to execute them point blank with her signature weapon. The city's underworld begins to panic as rumors spread of a silent female executioner. Back at her apartment, her increasingly erratic behavior and the constant smell of bleach attract the attention of her nosy landlady and her landlady's aggressive dog. Thana manages to keep them at bay, but the pressure of her secret life begins to weigh on her sanity. Meanwhile, Albert, the fashion house boss, invites Thana to a high-profile Halloween party he is hosting. He views her as his new muse and expects her to blend in with the eccentric, artsy crowd of New York's fashion elite. Thana's nightly hunts become more reckless. She notices a Chinese couple kissing on the street. When the man says goodbye and walks away alone, she quietly stalks him through the dark corridors of his buildings. Just as the man reaches his door, Thana raises her pistol and aims for the kill. Miraculously, he steps inside and closes the door a split second before she pulls the trigger, leaving a frustrated Thana staring at the main door, furious that she missed her chance. In the next scene, Thana sits quietly at a corner table with the man, who spends the entire evening opening up to her. He animatedly shares stories about his chaotic, busy work life and the deep pride he takes in his family. The tone turns bittersweet as the man drinks heavily, eventually confessing the heartbreaking details of how he discovered his wife was cheating on him. Thana watches him in silence, listening intently to his raw, unfiltered vulnerability. The two move outside, where the man casually reveals his twisted revenge. He strangled his wife's beloved cat to get back at her. Disgusted and deeply frustrated by his cruelty, Thana pulls her pistol and aims to shoot him, but the gun suddenly jams. Seeing the weapon, the man lunges forward and snatches the gun from her hands. Instead of turning it on Thana, he clears the jam, presses the barrel to his own head, and takes his own life, leaving Thana in absolute shock. Thana returns home, still reeling, and immediately clears out the remaining body parts hidden inside her refrigerator. She transfers them into her closet, locking the door securely to keep them hidden from her landlady. With the apartment secure, she gathers the other disposal bags, avoids the main hallway completely, and quietly slips out through the back window into the night to dump the evidence. Shortly after Thana leaves, the landlady enters the apartment with Phil, who immediately runs to the closet and starts sniffing around frantically. Intrigued and suspicious, the landlady notices the locked door and begins searching for the keys to open it. As she hunts for the keys, Phil accidentally knocks over a flower bouquet, spilling it onto the floor. Realizing she is out of time or unable to find the key, the landlady quickly exits with the dog. Upon returning, Thana immediately spots the overturned bouquet and realizes someone has been inside her apartment. To eliminate the threat, she approaches her landlady, Mrs. Nasone, and asks to take Phil out for a walk. Once outside, Thana tries to discreetly shove Phil into the path of oncoming traffic, but the clever dog manages to dodge the vehicles, ruining her first plan. Frustrated, she drags Phil to a secluded dock, ties him up securely so he cannot escape, and pulls out her pistol, aiming it directly at him to finish the job. She writes to Mrs. Nasone that Phil got lost but maybe could return on its own. Preparing for an upcoming Halloween party, Thana dresses herself in a stark, traditional nun outfit. Standing before the mirror in the holy attire, she pulls out her pistol, locking her gaze on her reflection. With cold, calculated focus, she raises the weapon and begins practicing her movements. She aims and fires imaginary shots at her invisible targets, perfecting her deadly technique before stepping out into the night. Thana arrives at the crowded, chaotic Halloween party. Surrounded by men wearing masks and costumes, her mind begins to blur the lines between the partygoers and the predators she has been hunting on the streets. Her gaze hardens as she looks around the room, realizing she is trapped in a room full of targets. Driven by lingering suspicion, Mrs. Nasone uses her spare key to sneak back into Thana's apartment. She heads straight for the closet, forces it open, and pulls out one of the heavy plastic bags hidden inside. Opening the bag, Mrs. Nasone recoils in absolute horror as she stares at a severed human head. Trembling, she frantically calls the police, sobbing into the receiver as she demands the detective arrest Thana immediately, convinced her twisted neighbor has murdered poor Phil. As the party reaches its peak, Albert tries to make a move on Thana in a private corner. The unwanted advance completely snaps her remaining sanity. Pulling the pistol from beneath her nun's habit, she shoots him dead on the spot, sending the crowded room into absolute chaos. With the music blaring, Thana walks calmly through the panicked crowd. Raising her weapon, she begins systematically executing every man in sight, treating the party as a final, bloody clearinghouse for the predators of the city. Midway through her rampage, one of Thana's female co-workers from the fashion house, horrified by the slaughter, sneaks up behind her. Brandishing a large carving knife, the co-worker stabs Thana squarely in the back to stop the bloodshed. Thana stumbles and drops her smoking gun, collapsing heavily to the floor. As Mrs. Nasone sits weeping uncontrollably over Phil's death, the front door suddenly nudges open. Phil trots casually into the apartment, completely unharmed, leaving the crying landlady stunned. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.